In Qatar, a UN-led meeting on Afghanistan is attended by a Taliban delegation with the unfortunate exclusion of women. Greetings everyone. Today we will be delving into the subject matter of the Taliban's participation in a meeting organized by the United Nations in Qatar, focusing on Afghanistan. It is worth noting that women were not included in this gathering. Zabihullah Mujahid, the spokesperson for the Taliban, called upon the Western nations to overlook their treatment of women in order to foster better relations. Additionally, Mujahid emphasized the importance of strengthening ties with countries such as Kazakhstan and Russia. The exclusion of Afghan women from this meeting has garnered criticism from various human rights organizations and Malala Yousafzai. However, the United Nations has defended this decision, assuring that women's rights will still be addressed. Without any further delay, let us proceed with our discussion. In order to enhance foreign relations, the Taliban urged the West to overlook the restrictions they have enforced upon Afghan women and girls. Zabihullah Mujahid, the primary spokesperson for the Taliban, emphasized the importance of recognizing their religious and cultural values, as well as the aspirations of the public, in order to foster positive bilateral relations, rather than facing conflicts and a lack of progress. On the inaugural day of a United Nations-led gathering in Qatar, focused on enhancing involvement with Afghanistan and establishing a more cohesive approach to addressing the nation's challenges, Mujahid voiced his request. This marks the third occasion in which the United Nations has organized a conference in Doha. During the initial gathering, the Taliban was not extended an invitation. In February, the second meeting took place, but the Taliban imposed unreasonable terms for their attendance. These conditions included the exclusion of Afghan civil society members from the discussions and the recognition of the Taliban as the legitimate governing body of Afghanistan, which the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres deemed unacceptable. The current Doha meeting has witnessed the exclusion of Afghan women from participation. The Taliban is not acknowledged as a legitimate government by any country, and the United Nations has declared that official recognition will remain highly unlikely as long as restrictions on women's education and employment persist. On Sunday, Mujahid expressed a sense of defiance by asserting that the political rapport between the Taliban and other countries was progressively strengthening. During discussions on the sidelines, Mujahid revealed that Saudi Arabia has expressed its plans to reopen its embassy in Kabul. Additionally, he mentioned that Kazakhstan has already taken steps to remove the Taliban from its list of banned organizations, and Russia is expected to follow suit in the near future. According to Mujahid, the Taliban's ability to establish and maintain relationships with neighboring countries illustrates their dedication and capability in this regard. In his address, Mujahid acknowledged that certain nations may encounter challenges with specific aspects of the Islamic Emirate. He emphasized that divergent policies among states are a normal occurrence, and it is the responsibility of seasoned diplomats to seek avenues of engagement and comprehension rather than conflict. It is imperative that disparities between nations do not escalate to the point where dominant countries exploit their influence to enforce security, political, and economic measures that have a profound impact on Afghanistan. While he did not explicitly address the controversial restrictions placed on women and girls, which have sparked international condemnation, he has previously regarded them as an internal affair. The Taliban has dismissed any objections to their treatment of Afghan women and girls, dismissing it as unwarranted interference. Mujahid stated that as a result, various nations, especially those in the Western Hemisphere, have the ability to eliminate the barriers that impede the progress of their relations with the Afghan government. The decision to not include Afghan women in the meeting has faced criticism from various rights groups, as well as Richard Bennett, the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Afghanistan, and Nobel laureate Malala Yousafzai. Last Thursday, Yousafzai, who was targeted by a Taliban attacker due to her advocacy for girls' education, took to social media platform X to share that she had a conversation with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres regarding the Doha meeting. Expressing her concern, she revealed her feelings of alarm and disappointment regarding the invitation extended to the Taliban for a meeting with UN special envoys, while Afghan women and rights defenders were deliberately excluded from the primary discussion. By proceeding with the meeting without the presence of Afghan women, it inadvertently conveyed a message that the international community was willing to comply with the Taliban's requests, which was entirely counterproductive. In Afghanistan, she further stated that the actions of the Taliban can be equated to a form of gender apartheid. Rosa Otunbayeva, the United Nations highest-ranking representative in Afghanistan, justified the exclusion of Afghan women from the Doha meeting by asserting that the issue of women's rights is bound to be addressed. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like, share and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.